Okay, this one is called reciprocal functions. And when we talk about this like this, 1 over f of x, it is reciprocating the y values. So reciprocate the y values. When I refer to a graph, I'm always looking at the y values. So what does the word reciprocal mean? Flip the fractions. Okay? So the reciprocal of 2 over 5 would be 5 over 2. The reciprocal of 10 would be 1 over 10. This would be negative 3/4. If you have 1 over 50, it flips to be 50. What about flipping a 1? 1. So this is kind of special because it stays, right? Didn't do anything. What about the reciprocal of -1? Still -1, so that's kind of special. It just stays. 100. 1 over 100. 0.
Zero. 1.
It's not.
No defined.
No solution.
There's the word.
That's what I said.
Undefined. 1 over 0 is undefined. You can't do it. It's not that there's no solution because I'm not trying to solve anything. It's just what is the number? It's an undefined number. Okay, so here's the big things. So if you ever have a height of 1 or -1, it stays. If you ever have a height of 0, we said it would become undefined, which on a graph, how do you graph undefined? Now, I don't think you've ever heard this word. You draw an asymptote. Okay, and in grade 12, you're going to draw so many asymptotes. Undefined, it means I can be anywhere, I don't know. So you go straight up and down. Well, okay, so the next one says, what happens if the number is big? So 100 is a big number. So what happens to the reciprocal? It gets smaller. And what if you reciprocate a small number? What would happen to it? It would get bigger. I also want to think about this as another way to say, if you are closer to 0, you would move further from 0. And if you're further from 0, you would move closer to 0. Okay, that's the same thing, right? If I get big, if I'm big, I get small. Small, I get big. Okay, these 4 ideas, and then you're ready to graph. Okay, step 1. Where does this graph have a height of 0? Right here. So now I'm going to draw that as a, what was the rule? Asymptote. The new height is not 0, the new height is undefined. Okay, now I'm going to take the second rule. I'm going to say, where is there a height of 1? Right here. So that is going to stay there. Where is their height of -1? That's going to stay there. Okay, now, what's going on right in this zone? From here to here, what's going on? Are these numbers big or small? So watching my finger, what am I doing? I'm going closer, 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 closer to 0. So what should I do as a reciprocal? I should go farther and farther and farther away from 0. I should get bigger, 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 bigger. Okay? And your asymptotes on a graph are always there to guide you in that you never, ever, ever touch one or cross through one. You can never cross through one. You always approach it, and then you'll eventually just kind of travel close to it. What's going on from here and beyond? That's getting bigger, 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 bigger. So what should I do as a reciprocal? I should get smaller, 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 but I can't switch to be negative. These are bigger, bigger, bigger positive numbers, so these are smaller, smaller, smaller positive numbers. Okay, now I'm going to go into this zone. So I'm going to look at this section. These numbers are small numbers, right? So I'm going to make them bigger negative numbers. They're negative. So I have small negative, so I'm going to go big negative. I'm close to 0 here, so I'm going to go farther from 0 here. Okay, then after this and beyond, I'm getting lower, lower, lower. So now I need to get higher, 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 higher. But I can't ever switch to be positive all of a sudden. I can't do that. Okay, this is not done, and here's the reason why. There's one more thing that I didn't talk about. Because this behavior is saying you're getting closer and closer and closer to 0, you're getting closer and closer to 0, I actually need to put an asymptote there as well. Because an asymptote is always on a graph when you get closer and closer and closer to something and never touch it. Do you understand why that's never going to touch 0? Because this is, think about 1 million, a height of 1 million. The reciprocal will be 1 over a million. It's so close to 0, but it will never get to 0. Okay, and the next one. Okay, first step, where do you see a height of 0? Height of 0, right here. There's actually 2, right? Okay, step 2, where do you see a height of 1? So here's the heights of 1, so I'd be here and here. Same with the heights of -1. Okay, now we're going to do 3 chunks here because we kind of have what I would call the right side, the middle part, and the left side part. Okay, let's talk this zone from the asymptote to this point. What's going on with the graph right in that zone? It's small, so my reciprocal should go big. Okay, this is getting bigger, 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 but it stops this time, so I can't just go down with an arrow. What's the height at that one? Can anybody read the graph there? How many up is this? 6. So what is the height that I should stop at? 1/6. So I get smaller, 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 and then stop. So this stopping point would have a height of 1/6. That kind of makes sense? So do you see this had an arrow causing that to keep going? This doesn't, so it stops. Okay, can you do the left side? Because it's exactly the same, but reversed. Okay, now for the middle region. So I'm going to think about this little section of the graph. So from here to here, these numbers are getting closer to 0. So I should move away. Same with the flipped section on this side of it. Small negatives, so my reciprocal is going to go big negative. Small negative numbers, big negative numbers. And this coordinate here is the lowest part of this section, so it should now be the highest part of the section, right? The lowest point will become the highest point. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at a -4 right now. So the new height of it would be at -1/4. So from -4, I moved it to -1/4 height. And then look at that, we just have to connect everything there. Okay, here, there's no asymptote this way. Here there was, here there isn't. So what's the difference of why I did it there, why I didn't do it here? Here, we just stopped. We didn't keep going, 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 and that's the reason why. So here, because this goes up forever, we're going to keep going lower, 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 lower forever, and that's an asymptote. Okay?